Okay, it is 5:01. We will call the meeting to order for the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees on Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. We do have a quorum. Everyone received minutes from our January meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Are there any discussions or corrections or questions? No, hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? All right, the ayes have it. Okay, as Justin had said in his email that he sent out earlier, in light of the discussion we're going to have regarding our plants, he's not going to go through everything on his report unless anyone has questions. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to read through them. And
Did we get them? We just got them, didn't we?
When did you send them?
I sent them last Thursday.
yeah,
Oh,
they went out a while back.
okay.
Right, I didn't read them. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
didn't know.
boy.
Just a brief summary of finance report is we're still kind of where we expect to be for the fiscal year. Gone over in repairs and maintenance, office supplies and other supplies, but we have such an over budget in our electricity line item that more than makes up for it. I do have a brand new format. I was hoping everybody would appreciate and love for making it easier to parse out what's
Yeah,
come
you
in
did have that. I remember seeing.
versus what
Yeah,
has
that's
gone out
good.
of trustee accounts. Only real things to note are the building, the doors went over budget because that was it ended up being a lot more of a project than he thought it was. So that has taken us under in regular donations, the $50,500 reserved for the capital campaign by a little bit, but it should repopulate fast enough that it won't matter. And that's it.
What was the total cost for the doors?
7877.
7, 8.
They are absolutely beautiful. I drove by today and I was blinded by the sun reflecting off of the brass. They're beautiful.
Even from the inside, there's brass kick plates on the bottom.
Mhm.
And like he replaced all of the old, rusty stuff with shiny new brass stuff, and it gleams.
That's awesome.
Everybody loves it.
I can't tell.
How much did we budget for the doors?
The original estimate was for where'd it go? 5908. So I have the number we went over budget by later in the door line item.
Okay.
But if you want to know now, it went 1,969 over the estimate.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, he was very communicative through the entire process as to why. There were jam boards in the bottom, which were entirely rotted out that had to be replaced. He had to fabricate his own tools to scrape the old lacquer and varnish and stuff out of the trim because nothing is like to a custom cut. It's all original. I told him not to throw away the tools because we'd probably be interested in a quote eventually for, working on some of the interior work as well, because it all has been selected for its, like pristine pattern beauty. And this place would really, could benefit from restoration work down the line, I think, once we get more important issues solved.
That's part of the beauty of the old building, you know, there's the good, the yin and the yang. But, right, that's
Anyway,
good.
that's jumping ahead.
Yeah,
As far as the director's report, we launched Creative Bug, had 29 subscribers. I put together a shelf this past month to put new children's magazines on. On 4/20, there's a town-wide Shake the Frost event. It's going to be similar to the Winter Walk, but with a spring theme. We're going to have face painting at the library again, and we're also, as of today, I know we're going to have a performer who applied for a cultural council grant and got it. And he's going to come here and do like a musical playground with like keyboards and drums and things so that people can
ooh,
play with and do stuff. So
oh, that's great.
we'll have 2 programs running simultaneously,
Mhm.
That's good.
and circulation is good. That's the end of my director's report, unless there's any questions.
No, we're good. All right, let's move
Yeah, I have
on.
one question. I don't like the lights, the aiming lights out the front door because they're on 24/7, it looks like. Is there any way to have a timer on it so it only goes on when it's dark?
Not without rewiring the foyer, because the outside lights are on the same timer as the inside lights that are outside in the foyer. So unless those things are separated, we need the outside floodlight on when we're open because people are accessing those collections, and we need it on, whenever we're closed for security reasons.
Okay.
But I mean, I could ask Jeff what it would cost to separate them out if y'all want an estimate for doing that.
No, I don't.
I think we're
I've
good.
been spending a lot of money, so I'd rather not. That cost us extra to get that put in, so that's
Mhm.
fine.
It is super energy efficient, though. The unexpected energy efficiency of our building has been a huge headache for Jean because she over budgeted energy credits with the town solar supplier, assuming we would be using about twice as much as we have in the past fiscal year, which is good news for us. But makes her
is.
job harder because she has to find a way to make it all allocated and dispensed with by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah. God bless Jean. All
Finds every penny.
right. Ready to move on when you are, whenever anybody else is. So I guess we're at building projects. And accessibility next steps. Just to jump ahead just for a minute, the meeting with the BFCC was posted on by a couple of people. So those who weren't able to attend, hopefully had a chance to watch it, but it went very well. And the town is supportive of us. They want to help us. So that's where we're at. They want to help us move forward. We have to decide on a plan, a basic plan, not a, take this to the bank and this is it, what we're going with. Matt said something as simple as a sketch on a napkin, which literally that's our house plan. Our house plan actually was on a matchbook cover. That's what we have on file.
You have a tiny house?
No, honest to God, they can't really decide exactly what year, but they think it was whenever. No, seriously. So anyhow, but we have to come up with a plan tonight of what we want, what we're looking for. Like Justin said, it's basically an estimate of an estimate.
Did everybody get a chance to watch the meeting?
I wanted to just chime in on that. I watched the meeting. I'm sorry I was not able to attend because I wasn't in Douglas that night. But I'm here now. And I did watch it, and I was really impressed, especially by the supportiveness of the members of the board. It's clearly they all had, they're aware of the history. And I thought that was, like I said, I'm just generally impressed with how they received the presentation and willing to help us move it forward. That was great.
Right. Yeah.
I was somewhat impressed too by at the beginning of the meeting, which wasn't about the library, it was about the highway barn, and where Matt was talking and saying that he, because he's had experience in other states, that the model, Massachusetts model, is sort of way too much, and that you don't need all these bells and whistles that they insist that you have to have, and I thought that's what I felt all along. I really like that comment.
Your ears perked up on that, huh, Ally?
Yeah. Well, and so I did listen to it again just to hear it, because I agree with that. You don't have to do
I know.
everything.
Well, we do have
that's
to, because
all
it is the
linked
law.
to state grants too, and so they're going to insist upon that. And then reading Dynamic Douglas yesterday or something like that, reading about why do we have this football field at the high school, and it turns out that they had to put this in because it was a state grant they were receiving money for, not for that field, but that was one of the requirements, that they had to have a football field.
Right. So anyhow, let's stay on path here.
So just, can I reiterate what you said a little bit?
Yeah.
Just so that everyone understands what's going on. At the end of this meeting, I'm sending an email to Matt. That's going to be the football that we are tossing to him, to ask the architectural firm the town is engaged with in ongoing contracts what it would cost to estimate our project. But we have to give them a general outline of what that project is. So we've got previous plans to work with. We've got the building program to work with. We've got, what do we want to throw at them? So that's why I wanted everybody to have access to all the sketches that have been done historically. Sent those out, and now we just got to decide what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy.
I have some thoughts, of course. I like the idea of, well, I'll say that at the end. I liked either the Dixon Salo or the Socrat drawings, and just taking what they were recommending and expanding it all the way across the back of the library. So it wouldn't just be for housing an elevator, but it would provide some extra space behind the library. So either one of those drawings look great to me. Then the bathroom would only be one bathroom, and I think
that's getting too specific. That's getting beyond the remit
No,
of what
that's
we
too,
can put in front
and
of the
that's, you
architect.
I
can't.
have 4 or 5 things to say. All right.
All right, go
Don't
ahead.
tell me I'm being too specific. You can rebuke it, but this is what I'm coming up with. The bathroom would be in the old furnace room, and it would be a unisex one, the handicapped one. The elevator would go to the main floor and to the attic. The doors in the balcony there, whatever that's called, would go down to the floor, which we had talked about several years ago. We would have an egress and ingress driveway. And depending on the number of parking spaces, 1 or 2 handicap parking spaces. And I just wanted to say that I really liked the stuff that Danielle had sent from the Mass Office of Disability, And that I finally found out that it wasn't based on population of the town. It was based on how many parking spaces you have behind in wherever you're going to have your parking. So that was sort of an eye opener for me. But that was good. So I would really appreciate a walkthrough with these people. I know that we have to get these.
Okay, Ellie, I'm gonna stop you there. Because that's another topic. We're looking at things. I'm gonna also interject in what you said you wanted, in that a unisex bathroom does not work in Massachusetts. You have to have identical male and female bathrooms available. So
Okay,
that
so
would
under
mean
you is-
putting in two separate, doesn't have to be a totally separate, but there has to be a barrier if that one side is women and one side is men. So it's two handicap toilets.
I just remember somebody saying, one of the architects, but it might have been a more recent change that this has come into play, because it was either whatever the guy with the Dutch last name.
Van Horace.
Yeah, either he said it. No, I think he did say it, that you didn't have to
in
have
his, okay, I'll let you go ahead. No, in his, he shows two bathrooms.
He shows more than two bathrooms in his plan. There
Well,
was
he
like
shows
4
two
bathrooms.
handicap and then one lavatory in one scheme. There's different schemes.
Yeah, I know.
There's also plumbing code, which is separate
That's
from
the plumbing, that's
accessibility
exactly, the
code. But
Massachusetts
that, I mean,
plumbing
that's the
code.
job of the architects to figure out, not us.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Right, so anyhow, thank you, Ellie. Others.
I thought it would be
think-
fun to hear what everybody's favorite design was, if they have
Well,
one,
I'll
and
tell
like what the
you-
reason
no, I'll
is.
tell
I've
you,
got
I
what,
can-
I mean, me and the staff, want to present, but I mean, like, ultimately, I mean, this is everyone needs to be behind what we do tonight.
Right, so
I was
have,
actually surprised how similar they all were.
Yeah,
They
they
are.
come down to
Slightly
the
different
same thing.
locations, but
yeah, I agree. I liked, well, two things that stood out to me. The Van Horace adaptation that Justin helped with. That one is good and appears to be somewhat cost effective. The only thing I see about that one is that in the lower level, the bottom level, there's inside space taken up by the machine room.
Yeah,
That is needed for the elevator. That's the only thing I saw on that one that was a question to me.
I think that's
I-
required, isn't it?
his original plan had the machine, the back pooch here that I'm circling with my cursor was a little bit bigger and had
Yeah.
elevator machinery included in it.
Right, well, the thing is,
But
okay,
whenever I sat down with him in 2015, it was all about how can we make it cheaper? How can we make it cheaper? How can we
well,
make it
that's
cheaper?
what I was thinking.
So it moved that inside.
Yeah.
And
And that's
then,
what
yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking. Because another one that kind of caught my eye was the Jean Caroon Scheme C, which is very similar to this one. It's an older one, but it's very similar in this, but the thing is that one does have the machine room on the outside, and I thought that was gonna be that would be, see it over here, there. I'm pointing with my pen. Don't you see what I'm pointing? Yeah, see, the machine room is there. So that would cost more because it's a bigger new construction. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like any additional square footage is going to cost more. But I mean, like Ellie's talking about squaring off the building the whole length. So
Oh, I understand that. No, I'm going with one of these plans. The only thing that none of the plans include taking the elevator to the third floor. And what would be, here's a question for Matt for tomorrow. What would be the difference if we're gonna choose something tonight? An idea, what is the difference in cost between making an elevator going to the second, that they call it the bottom level, first floor. We're gonna call it the second floor, right? 1, 2, 3. So it's an elevator going from one level up to the third level. What's the difference in cost from, none of these plans go to the third floor. What's the difference in cost? from going-
Danielle, when I was reading through the information about the ADA accessibility issues, they did mention there seems to be a difference if an elevator is 2 floors or 3 floors in terms
Right.
of actual ADA requirements.
Well,
So- Go ahead.
technically, all right, it's one of the things is you don't have to be in compliance if it's 2 floors or less, or if the square footage on each floor is 2,000 square feet or less.
Mhm.
And we're really close on the square footage. But
Right.
So-
It seems as if we on the cusp of something, and that also has to do with if there's entry on each level and so on what you have to do.
absolutely, absolutely.
And whether or not there's an interior staircase. So it's kind of complicated in
That's it. We can't go
but
to what we have for a staircase.
Yeah,
If
what
we can even
counts,
call it a staircase.
right?
I think that it would be reasonable, and I think it would be a reasonable request to add to whatever plan we are asking them to estimate, what this would cost, and then also, what, add the option of, doing the third floor in the most economic and practical way possible. And, it might cost a little bit extra for them to estimate that out, but it might be information that's worth to have, because if we can open up the space up there, great. If it's not attainable, it's not attainable. But if we, add that into what we want Matt's to pitch, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, and Ellie had made a point at our last meeting about making that third floor accessible to staff and volunteers who are, whatever that space is used for, probably for storage, or at least part of it, that having an elevator to get up there is gonna be crucial.
Yeah.
So. I think and that was the question that kind of surprised me, and they all kind of acted like, I guess we were looking for, some of it was before my time, the bare bones, like to make it so people could get in and out and we'd be ADA compliant. But I think we should be looking at accessing all our space, and that's going up to the third floor.
Ideally,
I would also be in favor of asking them to estimate the squaring off the back of the building, as we talked about. I don't care where the bathrooms and things are.
Well, you have to have a pathway. I've learned a lot over the weekend.
Well, that's up to the architect. Luckily, we don't have to figure all that out. So, but I
And
also
we're
think it's a
giving them
good
the
idea
imperative
to.
of doing this as economically as possible. So
Exactly.
and prioritizing the accessibility, right, versus the addition.
Yes, absolutely.
what I would
Absolutely,
favor.
Barbara,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, there will have to be an addition. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
much, but one way or another. It's just how big the addition is.
So we can really parse it like details, like where should the machine room be, but like we don't want to take away from the available space. So, I would say let's make sure that it's all of the elevator stuff is on the exterior, ideally, versus
Right.
encroaching on the existing meeting space and program space.
Right.
Yes.
But in terms of asking for more space, that's like, that would be nice, but that's not the purpose here. Really, it's really the accessibility.
Yeah, but you need for the stacks to be accessible, you have to
Yeah.
have a more space there so that a wheelchair can go between.
Right. I was making the point, I don't like one of the plans has the machinery for the elevator inside the building. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that everything involved with accessibility is on the exterior. So it
Well,
doesn't
and on that, but on,
exist program space.
but Barbara, the difference on that plan is that that machine room is only on the lower level. So it
Yeah.
would not affect the others. And that might be something to weigh as far as costs. You know, do we
Yeah,
want to give up
yeah.
that amount of space if it's gonna cost this much money to house it all on the outside? You know, that means increasing that whole pad and entryway.
Yeah, those are the trade-offs, right?
Exactly. So we're gonna have to, like Matt said, let's give him a sketch on a napkin and with,
But I'd like the elevator to go all the way to the side that the pizza store is on. I don't like it being in the middle of where the upstairs fire escape comes in. I think it should all be over to the corner, and maybe that's where the elevator room should be. I know just from being they have to be inspected every year, and if you have anything in the elevator room, you are in big trouble. And you can't store anything in there. You can't put chairs and stuff like that in it. You can't use it at all. It only can be for the elevator equipment stuff.
I think Justin has a wish that it wouldn't impact your windows, right?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, he could get new windows.
No, but you don't want his windows covered.
Oh, I don't give two craps about my window. I already covered it up with the magnet board.
All right.
we'll get him a fake window with like
Well, he's gonna have
cascading
10
water or
feet out
something he can
for
look at.
his office too.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, the office
So
could
he
move
can
back.
have a
if you
stained
wanted.
glass window if he pays for it.
Okay, how
You
about
want
if
to
we,
hear me and the staff's pitch what our favorite options are?
Yes.
Yes.
wait a minute, I
Oh,
want
sorry.
to give,
Who's next?
hey, I'm gonna bang my gavel in a minute. I want to give other trustees a chance to chime in on this. How about Betty? I haven't heard from you tonight. What do you think?
Well, the first thing I saw on that Dixon one, I thought I saw the word ramp on it, which I didn't like at all. I think the entire elevator and machine room should, of course, be outside the building. Otherwise, it's going to take up room in the Carrick room, which is the biggest gathering for all the children's programs and any other kind of program. It should, of course, be outside the building. I don't think the BFCC is that concerned on money, so I'm not too concerned about extending it all the way across the back because I think we'll need that extra room. I'm not too concerned about the labels they put on the rooms because just because they called it a children's room doesn't mean we have to use it for that. We just need the space that they have and then we'll use it for what is best for us. I thought we could have a unisex bathroom. I've been to medical facilities where there's unisex bathrooms. I'm very concerned about the current state of politics that you can have anything labeled men and women. I don't think they do that in schools anymore. I don't know what they do, but that's out because of all the trans people. That's going to run into a problem, I think. I would like to just have one bathroom. And I'd like the elevator to go all the way to the top because I was told that we can't use that mezzanine room if it's not handicapped accessible. No one is allowed to go up. If the building is accessible and that is not, we can't
Right.
use it.
You're right.
And I think if we're going to put a lot of storage in the very top attic floor, that the elevator would be important, because suppose we get someone, staff that's a tiny petite person without strength to carry all the books up and down and all that. I think right now that's a problem, carrying all the children's books up and down stairs. So I like that. And I do want to be sure that the front door is open and usable. My concern is, I don't know if we're required to have any parking places other than handicapped. Because if we extend it all the way across the back, it's going to take up a lot of room, and maybe we'll only have room for 2 handicap and maybe 2 or 3 other. But I think eventually we might be able to get a breakthrough to the credit union so that people could drive across from Unibank or Webster Credit or the parking lot and walk through somehow, which was in one of the plans.
Yes, I saw
But
that.
I
That-
do think that the whole elevator machinery and everything should be outside the building.
Wow, Betty, thank you. Those are so many good points. And I was trying to remember because I wanted to respond to a couple of them. The plans that talked about neighbors, saying that's all fine, I think we'd have to revisit that. I think those are several years old, but there's always something that can be worked out there. You made several good points. Thank you. How
You're
about
welcome.
Dawn?
I am on mute.
Dawn?
So I'm in agreement with most of what, if not of all of what Betty said there, but my question is, as far as Matt going to the architects or the engineers, he needs us to sort of pick a plan with a modification, right? So we need to figure out what plan that we want to be our jumping off point. Is that correct?
No, I think we just need to give him a sketch. That's what I took away.
Isn't that our sketch? Aren't one of these our sketches? I mean, we've got quite a
Well, yeah, I mean, Betty brought up a point about going across the back. Kate brought it up, and Ellie. Justin, I don't know if you have, what is their patience threshold of saying, okay, we like this plan. Okay, here's the idea. Choose a plan. I think people are agreeing that all of the housing for the elevator should be on the outside. So
Yeah.
pick up an idea for that. And what would the cost out be that with, just as it is, going up to the 3rd floor and extending it across the back, however far out it has to come to access the entry for the elevator. Justin, Willie, can they or not?
Sorry, what was the question wrapped up there at the end of that?
So what we're looking at, my thought is, I think we're all in agreement that the entire housing for the elevator needs to be on the outside. So we pick whatever plan it is for the outside housing elevator.
Most of them do.
Or going up to the 3rd floor, or extending it out, extending the building across the back to accommodate the width of the entry for the elevator. Is that what we're looking at? Are we looking to go across the back too? At this point?
Yeah,
The desire
have
has been
to.
expressed.
Why do you say we have to? I'm not
because
opposed.
you can't take a wheelchair through the stacks. It's
Oh,
not
third
accessible.
floor, on the third
So
floor.
you have to move.
Okay, but
Gotta
we're
On
not
the main
talking
floor,
about,
we have
Ellie,
to,
Ellie, I'm not even talking about making the third floor accessible to the public. Just that it's accessible to employees and volunteers. At
But
this
you
point,
could
we
have
don't
it.
have to decide that, really.
I know, I'm talking about the stacks where the fiction and nonfiction
yeah,
is
she's
kept.
talking about the main floor because
Oh,
Main
okay,
floor.
to
no,
make
yes, no,
those
absolutely.
accessible, they have to be
Yeah.
farther apart. Because right now everything's too scrunched up together in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
Can't get through.
Yeah.
So unless there's an expansion on the back to make room for the shelves we already have, we have to lose some and shed some collection.
Okay, got it.
All right. So,
It doesn't make sense to become handicap accessible and smaller.
Right.
well,
No, it does
Justin
not.
and I have had this conversation.
There was a time when it probably did. Whenever we applied for the did I include them in? Yeah, the 2017-06-28 ADA proposal drawings. The pitch was basically what can we realistically accomplish if we get a $250,000 grant and then the town pitches in some more. And that was putting in a limited access lift in the middle of the
Lift,
program
yeah.
room, and then tacking on, 2 parking spots, and
I don't think you
that
can
was
even
it.
do that now.
But we're in a radically different position now than we were financially in 2015 and 2017. If we had, something like this on the table and ready to go today, it would likely just be funded out of, mechanisms already available and wouldn't have to go to town meeting. And
Wow.
that was my big takeaway from the BFCC's meeting and from chatting with Matt is, if we can come up with a scheme, with a plan of doing this that is reasonable, that
Yeah.
makes sense and that everyone is behind, I mean, everyone is in our corner. Everyone is rooting for us, and
Yeah.
the town is willing to spend
Absolutely.
money on the library.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to make progress just in case our town administrator ever decides to leave, because that would be bad for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
So if we recommend that the elevator room include with the building, then we could also make the stacks accessible, and that would be a huge.
Well, the stacks are going to have to become accessible no matter
Yeah.
what.
But this way we wouldn't
Um,
have to reduce the yeah, right, either way.
Exactly.
And we wouldn't have to give up the shelving space because we'd have it
Right.
additional.
Mhm.
So that,
Right.
so again, ideally, that's what we would want to do.
And also, if you expanded that space downstairs, I mean, it would be in the basement too. So you could put, if you have to have 2 bathrooms, which I'm not sure you do. If you have to have them, then 2 could fit in there with that expanded or space there. And it would probably provide more room for Deb down there as well.
Yeah.
We'd have
What
to
if
smash out the back wall of the stack room on the first floor, though, wouldn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be true wherever it is, right?
Wherever.
Oh, maybe.
So here's another
Well,
thought.
no, not the whole thing. I guess just enough for the
Oh,
elevator.
here's another, I have another question. We're looking at, so now we're talking about, expanding out the back and across. Are we going up the ground level and first floor?
3 up to the attic.
You're going all the way up with that?
You have to have it accessible for handicapped staff too.
No,
Not
I'm not
just-
talking about
It's
the
not
elevator.
just the public, it's for
That's the main
for
thing.
everybody.
Ellie, I'm not talking about the elevator. I'm talking about the expansion out the back. Are you
Yeah.
gonna go at some call it the ground level, basement level to first floor have that extension end there, but the elevator continues up to the third floor. Is that,
Right.
that's probably an architect's nightmare.
I don't think we need the third floor extended out the back like the bottom floor.
Right.
And if we extended the third floor up and then the back out, we could have a nice little, deck out on top of the.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. There's some nice afternoon sun there.
It'd be a kind of a weird looking thing, like a T,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a T, or something. Or
That could be your staff offices out there on the roof.
I mean, maybe we could tack a Brady built sunroom
When it
on top of it
rains
and
and
then,
snows.
have a little sunroom.
People did want an atrium in the surveys. So.
That was my crazy. I wrote that in.
Is that
Dave.
you?
That was me. I said I wanted an atrium.
There was a mezzanine in one of the old plans.
Mm.
What do you
Yes,
mean?
between the levels, so it would. I don't even know where it would fit. Where the toilet is now? Kind of there? I don't know.
What mezzanine? I mean, there is a mezzanine in the building right now, isn't there?
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so where in the plan was the other one?
I don't know.
But
I know I
do
saw
you
it some.
agree with putting the elevator, that picture you just showed, at that end of the library so that you could have the not underneath the firescape, but move it to the edge of the building.
To move
See,
what?
this
The
one, there's one in
elevator?
the middle here. It says the Van Hore's one. It has it right in the middle. I just don't like that. I want it.
No,
Yeah.
on the end is like, that's the one. That's
Now, is
one.
this the Karoon one or Karoon?
This is the oh gosh, Socrat sketches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like those. Because it went to the edge of the edge. And that was sort of cool. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but it doesn't meet what we're looking for.
I know
So we
what
would
we're
just
looking
have to
for is
square off.
existing holes in the building, which is the pro. The con of it is that it changes traffic flow significantly. And this is what me and my staff were talking about today. And because I asked them, like, what is your favorite? What draws you to different plans? Which would you rather? And we talked about it. And if you have your elevator, if you have your stairs spitting people out here and your elevator spitting people out here, this isn't a program room anymore. We can't use that for story times and such because it's going to be a traffic area.
Right.
And the same up here on the first floor. It's going to have two entrances there. So that is no longer a usable space for, what we're using it now, the early readers library. So those
Right.
things would need to be
It becomes
moved,
a
and we
new
would have to
lobby, really.
shuffle. It creates new threshold spaces because right now we have the lobby as a threshold where people come in and they can choose where they want to go. Now they're going to have to be able to come in here too and choose where they want to go. And so there can't be toddlers playing here and, toys and stuff, or really much of anything, except maybe like new collections and some furniture or something. And then the same down here, we'll just have to clear out that room and use it for stacks or something else and move programming somewhere else, maybe like in the main stacks on the first floor. I know we've always talked about, having children's in the basement and adult on the first floor, but it might make sense to do vice versa. If we need to, like the next biggest room in the library is the stacks. And it's actually a super beautiful room with these massive cathedral tall windows, which, I don't know. But that was the downside of these, is because they don't spit patrons out into places where, we want them spat out.
What, I like the idea of the stairs up and down here. I love what the, not that one, the Socratic picture, the Socratic picture that you just had up there. That, yeah. I like the stairs going up and down here. These are death traps, even though the ones that are in the building now that go up to the mezzanine and go down to the basement, they are just so hairy scary. Now, you would, if you could have these stairs that is in the Socrat one by the elevator and have that, you'd still have and get rid of the stairs here. And maybe everybody's going to say no because they love the historical quality of it all. But that is very dangerous, those things. And then use this for a playroom, cover over the floor here where the stairs go, and you could do other things like that. You don't have to have the same flow that you have now. You're not going to have the same flow.
I don't like the Socrat idea. I don't like the plan.
I think you have to have those stairs, Danielle.
Well,
You have to have that
well, we
kind
have
of
to have
stairs
stairs,
there.
but they
You
don't
have
have-
to have
I don't
stairs
like
and
that.
an elevator. You can't have both. I mean, you have
Can't
to
have both?
You have to have both. You can't just have the elevator and then those awful
Take your
stairs.
pick. No, I don't, I'm sorry, I just don't like the Socrat drawings.
Can we go back to the Dixon Salo? Is that the one that that's one we're talking about in the meeting? Do we like this one or not?
I didn't like where he put the elevator. I would put it all the way down.
We can make,
And not have a ramp there. It would be
Yeah.
on the floor. I
but
mean,
if that's the only modification, it'd be easier to give this to Matt and say minus this and that rather
Yeah.
than.
Does
I'm
he
not
have
sure.
an elevator at all?
yeah, he did. But
Then why does he have a ramp?
I don't know. That
You
was
have to
a
go
little
up the ramp to
confusing.
get to where the elevator is.
Yeah,
No,
And that
but
ramp would spit you out in Joe's Pizza Shop too.
yeah, in somebody's kitchen.
yeah, I would move it over the whole thing so it's at the corner. I think the ramp, and it would go all the way down to the ground so that it would not have to have a ramp to it. And you could do your pavement and your handicap accessibility right next to it and have it very easy, to do.
Justin, did the staff?
Well, I
or
really
you
like
have any
the
other
elevator.
thoughts?
Go
Hi,
ahead.
Betty.
Yeah, the staff and I all favor the idea of the Van Voorhis plans without the extravagance of it. Do y'all want our little spiel? I wrote a spiel.
Yes.
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 Okay.
We want to hear that.
So I'm starting the discussion, asking everyone their favorite plan. We did that. We like the Van Voorhis building plan coupled with the Farley parking plan, mainly because we like the entrance in the middle, and it spits patrons out into what are already these threshold spaces from which they can choose where to go, as opposed to if you have like the other plans that I really liked were the Farley plans. But if you have your elevator to the basement over here and you've got all these rooms and hallways and things to a space over here, that's going to be a space that's hard to police with teams and whatnot. It's preferable, we think, would be to have staff in the middle and to have ingresses and egresses in the middle, which is why we like these. Not because it's brick, not because it's big. If they can make this as cheap as possible, that would be great. But it all comes down to having patrons, having an entrance here that they can come into and then come right around, and the circ desk is right there. And then on the basement floor, if they go down the elevator, then children's services is right there. It's not on the other side of the building or or anything like that. And that would require the least invasive renovation of existing space on the inside. So if we're talking about, just minimal where to tack an elevator, that's what me and the staff prefer. Yeah, so they also wanted me to mention, if something like the Socrat plan is pursued, then we have these new ingresses and egresses. So instead of having patrons coming in and out over here in a line, then we're gonna have to shuffle space, find a new place, and do more renovating on the inside than we may necessarily want to. As for parking, there's so many screens. The staff really liked how Farley had sketched out this parking plan, because Farley put on this addition here with the elevator and the stairs, which very similar to Socrat. I mean, it does the same thing as the Socrat plans, and then sort of left this space open for potential future renovation. But we're looking at a space like that and seeing yard. The library could have an actual honest to God yard for, summer programming, for picnics, for story times, for, anything that we want to do outdoors. If we could, eventually maybe fence it in one day, put a gazebo or something, it would be the kind of outdoor space that everyone's kind of wanted. So if pushing these parking spaces back here can give us that, that would make everybody happy.
So
It is
then the
very
handicap
important to
spaces were
Gail,
just up
as it
along
is
the
to
driveway?
Ellie. I'm sorry?
So in the parking plan, the handicap spaces were tucked along the side?
Yeah, so they parallel park here along the
Okay.
edge, so
I see.
they're closer, and then everyone else can, walk a little bit,
And this pushes the parking lot all the way back to
all the way back.
the,
So that gives us the maximum use of the property that we'll ever really be able to have.
so with that plan, you could just square it off. Either of those
And
plans,
that's
you could
what was
square off the
important
back.
to Gail. Gail also wants things squared off. Her opinion is if we're doing this anyway, we might as well get more square footage for it. So, instead of just doing the elevator, square it off and then make these rooms bigger. Then we would have, an even bigger programming room. We could have a bigger children's library, or we would have options of things to add from the building program.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to see third floor renovations in a project. It's just a matter of how much it costs. So what we came up with was, if we had to send an email to Matt, it would be, we want a base quote of building the Van Voorhis elevator design as economically as possible and making whatever other modifications as economically as possible, which are necessary for ADA compliance. And then adding on, we would also like to price out an option for extending accessibility to the third floor by whatever means necessary. If it's an elevator that goes to the mezzanine and then we have ramps going up into the attic sides, it's better than what we have. And then squaring off the back and expanding the whole building as another option. So basically, and I don't know if this is a reasonable ask or not, is asking them to estimate what it would cost to price all this out. But if we had a price for the base, a price for adding the upstairs, and then a price for squaring off the back, then we would essentially have kind of a 1, 2, 3 option.
Right. That
And
makes
I don't know
sense.
if it seems to me like it's work that would have to be done anyway. So asking them to estimate the rest of it wouldn't be that bad. But, we like starting from the Van Voorhis blueprint, and then asking them, scale it back, make it cheap. And, also whatever else you can do for cheap, do it.
I think that makes sense.
So that was our pitch. I'm done now.
No, I understand that, and I think it's great, and it makes sense. I totally agree. I mean, you're the people who are right now, well, we're in charge of the building, but you're basically spending a lot of your waking hours in the building, so we've got, we're working together to make the best. But the 3 things of, okay, take the Van Horace plan, put it in the middle of the outside. 1, Well,
the
it
Van
won't be
Hortus
going
plan's already in
up.
the middle. I mean, we could say even take the Socrat plan and move it to the middle, and I think it would accomplish the same thing. But I mean, they kind of are the same thing,
Yep.
just in different spots.
Right, so put it to the middle, so one is, what did you say, going up to the third? No, and, or the third one, the third option was just expanding. Um,
That makes
So
sense
that's
to
what
me.
we've got. But I think that, no matter what plan you plug in here, this could work. A base quote for building, um, you know, Socrat plans, but also study out the option of taking it to the attic and squaring it off, or any of these plans are in play. So it's kind of we pick a general shape.
all right, so, okay, so we're looking at right now. We're looking at is option one is the elevator on the bottom level, bringing you up to the first floor.
Is that it? That's what you're saying? Option one is?
Is that option one?
Well, I wouldn't vote for that. Option
No.
one.
Option two, no, I'm talking to Justin. And then option two is going all the way up. Option one's going up to the, I'm
Main
still
floor.
confused.
The main floor.
Okay,
Right,
option 1A is, we would like a base quote for building, whatever sketch we put in front of them as economically as possible and making whatever modifications, including parking, which ideally leaves a salon, which are necessary for ADA compliance. Basically put, a plan, and if, we're all on board, that parking plan, and say, how much would it cost to do this or something like this? And then saying, we'd also like to know how much it would cost to take all of what you're doing and extend it to the third floor for as cheaply as possible, so that we can access that space as well. And then also for an option, ask, what would it cost
What would
to
it
square
cost?
off the back and take advantage of that space as well.
I would, if we use this, I think you should add the benefit of doing that, because that would allow us to keep make the stacks accessible, or keep the same number of stacks. On item C, squaring up the back, what that would benefit.
Yeah, because doesn't Van Jorge's plan, I remember would you be moving the children's room all the way down? It's more than just, or would you follow?
no, it's whatever we
setup,
decide
or
to
what
do with
would
the
happen?
space.
Well, if
I
Van Horge's plan, as I
because
would
that was a
present it
very
now,
expensive stuff of trying to open up between the archive and the storage in the basement for children's room. And then in that plan, it also shows the second circulation desk, which adds a lot of more using employees more. It's going to cost a lot more to do it. Just doing the simple accessibility stuff, which I'm in favor of, obviously. You're not expanding your staff. You're keeping the same staff. It's going to cost the same amount of money, but you're getting more space. I
think,
just hope if you're going to do the Van Horn
isn't this
stuff,
kind of what it is?
What?
Isn't this idea?
yeah, that's precisely
What
what they
you're
were meant to
saying?
do. I mean, when Van Horhus drew this up, the remit from the trustees, was make this as economical as possible. And this was the most economical way he could come up with to, do the traffic flows and whatnot. And a lot of thought went into it. And I think it's actually, like a brilliant solution to the puzzle. But it's done with premium materials. It includes putting in, a glass wall along the new walkway between my office and the new ingress, and like all that extra stuff, which I don't think is necessary because, we're not asking them at this point to come in and renovate our entire library for ADA compliance and modernization. We're just asking them to come in and renovate for ADA compliance.
Right.
So, they tack this thing onto the back of the building. We do what we need to do in here to make it compliant, but for the most part, it stays the same, except for wherever we tuck 2 bathrooms.
Right.
I think that baked into the Van Voorhis plan was also, the big parking lot.
Or is that Farley? I thought you said.
Well, that Van
How
Voorhis
Farley
plan has a
did.
bigger one. And it's down here in the sketches, but it includes, it includes, the parking that comes in along the side and then the lot back here. And
We only need one
all this stuff.
handicap space
Yeah.
for 16 regular spaces.
Parking is an element I would really rather not skimp on, though, if we have the opportunity to fix it with this, because the state of our lot, whenever we have 2 programs going on at the same time, is already people, cross parking in the grass and jumping the curb to get to the Unibank lot. And we don't have adequate parking for what we do right now.
I know. So, well, what is the solution to that?
Well, again, we were in favor of the Farley plans because, you've got a driveway, you've got clear marked spots, you've got, 2 handicap accessible spots, 1 more parallel, 1 for a minivan. And then we'll have to find a way to get it to come out into this other lot. Easements or whatever is necessary. And, then, people could be directed to other lots as well, too.
Well, you
There's like
have
a way
to,
out when there's a parking layout.
but you have to have your handicap spaces aligned with the handicap entrance. They can't be they have to be within a certain distance of the entryway.
Yeah, aren't they right there in the front? Right by or back of the library? That's the handicap, where he's jiggling.
They are right here. So the entrance, if we did Van Voorhis thing, would be right here. So it still wouldn't be too far.
Oh, all right. I'm looking at the wrong space. All right.
And then you wouldn't have to, you could have the permeable surface for the rest of the parking lot. Where that, if you cover it with all fancy dancy pavement, it's gonna make it so it's not good for the environment or whatever.
Yeah, but that's something for down the road, Ellie. We might have to, I'm sure we'll have to revisit that. Right now, we just need to.
You only have to do the handicapped ones. And then put the ones that Farley had put in way back, but you don't have to have all that paved.
Okay, I'm just saying that we might have to, that's fine. But we might have to revisit that down the road. I'm not sure. Right now, we're looking at coming up with something we can agree on for Justin to send off to Matt.
And
the
has
other
someone
option
told
is-
us that there's room on the side for 2-way traffic?
I don't know if a study has been done.
If you hold your breath and suck everything in, Betty, you can make it.
Because I mean, that's part of the requirement for ADA, wasn't it? That we had to have 2-way traffic there?
You do. You're right.
So,
Or
Will we
around
cut off-
to this side.
oh, you mean go in one way and go out the other? Oh,
Or get the easement, like Justin was saying, of getting over to the credit union's parking lot.
yeah, that's way in the future. I think we should just do a plan, get the library done, and work on that later.
I agree,
That's
Betty.
a big
But we have to do
lawsuit.
all of that. That's part of
I
the
agree.
requirements, isn't it?
2-way, but I thought maybe we could get is there room for 2-way next to the pizza shop if we go closer to the building?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know, but let's not worry about that right now, okay?
It has to be worried about.
I thought it
Why?
was a requirement, by somebody
Yeah.
said it was a
No, no,
requirement.
no, we're looking at a basic plan to, for Matt to bring to the, company that works with the town as far as design and build. So,
I think it's their remit to figure out the best way to provide
exactly,
parking
it's
in the
their,
most economical way
that's
possible.
what happens. You contract with someone and it's their job to figure that out.
And we have already moved these retaining walls back because we removed those back for
I don't know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's about as close as you
our
can
parking
go.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back and let's try to, I don't know. Do I dare ask for a motion to, we don't even know what we're going to accept. I would like to make a motion, but I can't as the chair. I would like to accept, the proposal from Justin and his staff with the three options of just doing the one, going up all the way, and then extending out the back. I don't know if we have to do all three separate votes or
You-
whatever.
Could-
I
could-
would like to,
could you put it up again?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we can wordsmith this, guys. So like, let's just work on the email. Hey, Matt.
Be more formal.
Matt.
Good evening, Matt.
Okay, but anyway, here's what the trustees are looking for. A base quote of building the general outline of insert plan here as economically as possible and making whatever modifications. Let's just take that out of the equation for now. Are necessary for ADA compliance.
And then you put the Van Voorhis plan there?
Well, I don't know. Is that the will of the board?
the Voorhees plan.
So to be clear, we're not going with the entire plan. We're just talking about the base layout with the
Yeah, and I
elevator in the
can-
middle.
Well, yeah, the first part is the Voorhees plan,
The elevator.
right,
Mhm.
and then,
Elevator
a-
addition.
right. And then adding third floor accessibility. Lost
Think
him.
about it like the footprint. This is the footprint we're
right.
looking at. Which footprint do we like better? The Van Voorhis footprint, the other footprint, or just do we want to abandon all that and say, what can you do for us expanding the building 10 feet backward and draw all this out altogether? Or
Well,
do we want to start with a sketch?
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
to find
I-
out what it is.
We
Let's-
want to
let's not
choose
going
where
up
the
to
elevator goes.
top.
I don't,
I think having that visual included as to what we're thinking is a good idea.
I agree with
And I think
Barbara.
it's nice, like, you know, it's a wheel that's already been invented, you know, like this is
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
want to accomplish.
That's
But
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
we
say
want it
what
to
are our
look
options.
more
for-
like this. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. We want it to look more like this, you know, but accomplish the same thing as the other thing. And by the way, we want this parking and
I
No.
know, we gotta, that's why I'm
No,
saying,
we gotta keep it
how
simple.
patient are they?
No. I would still include the Van Voorhis.
Van
picture.
Voorhis.
The visual.
I agree.
I agree.
I don't know
But
if
I
we
wanted
should
to go
label
up to
it
the
that.
third floor. And it
Asking
doesn't.
about the third floor, Ellie, as another,
As an option here.
yeah. Adding third floor accessibility,
And so are
adding
we also
squaring off of the back.
back? Okay, so we're talking all about that now. Okay, so
Yes,
that would be, you're just saying, put the elevator in the middle but do this to the third floor or to the attic area and to square off the back on both sides so that you would have expansions there, right?
Yes.
I would then, again, on B, adding third floor accessibility as an option, I would put in there what that accomplishes. That would give us access to the storage.
Right.
Whatever. So they know
Very
why.
good.
why
Good
we-
point.
Okay, so tell me make a motion, Barbara.
How about we suggest a motion before we actually
Okay.
do a motion?
Okay.
Let's make a motion, second it, and then discuss. That's how it works. So somebody make a
Well,
motion
we're not done discussing yet.
that we have to. But Betty, okay.
Well, why
so-
don't we wordsmith a little bit more before we make a motion?
All right.
What the trustees are asking, this firm to estimate out the price of. We would like to know the general outline and footprint of the Van Voorhis plans as economically as possible and making whatever modifications are necessary for ADA. That would be our base request.
Yeah.
B, we'd also like to know how much it would cost to add third floor accessibility as an option, as economically as possible. I don't care who it's for, whether it's for staff or for patrons, as economically as possible.
But I think you should say why we would want that, though.
Okay, so what do you want me to put?
Access the storage.
You mean elevator or whole third floor accessibility?
No, I mean, I think what this implies is elevator accessibility.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so do you want me to put elevator in the sentence?
Elevator what?
Adding
Accessibility.
elevator access in the sentence. Instead of saying add first floor accessibility, say adding third floor elevator access as an option as economically possible.
Yes, that makes sense.
To
Well,
provide.
if we're ever going to use the third floor, it would make sense to put the elevator in now than later.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. One of the things they talk about in ADA is if you're trying to piecemeal things and you're able to do it all in one time, you're supposed to do that. You know how some board members have asked about, what if we do just this or what if we do just that? So they're kind of clear about you should be doing what you should be doing.
I think we should present to them what we really want with the sides added on, because I think, like Barbara said, they may not be thinking that we're going to lose stack space because we have to widen them. So I think we should say we need to widen it and explain why. And then maybe if that's too much money, we could go down from there, but I don't know about presenting the least likable plan is a good option to give them.
Right.
They didn't seem concerned about money.
Yeah, I tend
Is
to
this
agree
the
with
least
that.
likable plan?
I agree with you,
Pardon me?
Barbara, Betty. Yeah, there should be an explanation why there needs to be expansion to the third floor in order to make room for collections.
Well, and out the back, I was on the basement also.
Right, the whole thing.
So do we want to take those out as options and just say we want the quote for them? Is that?
Yeah, take out A, B, and C, just have it all in there.
Yeah, I like the idea of proposing what we want, and if we have to scale back from there, then we can
Okay,
do
so
that
Right,
later.
Kate.
Quote.
Yeah. So, what are they gonna do? Sorry, we can't do that, but, we could do this. or?
Well, we just want to know if the company will give us some kind of a estimate. We don't even know if they'll do that or not. The town, Weston and whatever they are, company.
Sampson.
Right.
Hmm,
So we're just getting an estimate for an estimate.
an
Yes.
estimate for an estimate. Yeah.
Proposal, Justin Van Goor's design.
So,
Not design proposal, the footprint, wherever you said footprint, that was good. I don't like the putting in the design proposal of Van Voorhees because it was a lot more extensive.
footprint doesn't apply anymore if we're squaring off the edges because we're not following that footprint. Does that make sense?
No.
Just
Initially, you are. You're
Well, no, they
putting
wanted me
it
to,
in the
you all want
center.
me to take that out and just say, this is what we want priced out instead of saying we want the minimal priced out with the extras as options, right?
An estimate of pricing out the project that follows the general principles. I don't like the general principles of Van Voorhees design because I don't like that design at this time. We're trying to make it handicapped accessible. We're not trying to put 2 circulation desks in and opening up, the space between the 2, the archives and the storage room. We're not trying to do that. We're just
We're not?
I'm not proposing that they do that. We're
all right, well,
proposing that they,
don't word
We
it like
need
you
the
have worded
space
it.
to
then.
do it. We're looking
So
for
what if
space.
we,
Only
what if
is
we
it
go back to the A,
Using
B,
the
and C?
footprint, the, that it would be in the center behind the library. That's what you want.
why don't you
but we
just,
want to go back to the word footprint.
I like that.
An
Yeah.
estimate of pricing out a project.
No,
that
that's fine.
follows the general outline and footprint of the Van Voorhees plans as economically as possible.
The building, the footprint.
why don't we just, can you put in there the word elevator, so we'll know we're talking about the elevator, not everything else?
Well, the general outline and
kind of
footprint of the Van Voorhees
whatever
plans as economically as possible.
Modifications are necessary
order
for ADA
to-
compliance.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
All right.
But I don't want the general outline. I just want the footprint of Van Voorhees.
Okay, but in the very next sentence, we're going to be saying we want the edges squared off, which makes the word footprint
Obviates the whole.
not, yes, obviates. That's a good word, Barbara.
Drawing on a napkin.
Oh, I'm gonna put that in my Wordle on the eights.
We need an elevator appendage, like on the Van Voorhees plan.
I did.
To install an elevator.
To estimate the
stairs.
cost to estimate an installation of an elevator.
Yeah,
Well, they can parse that out.
Yeah.
The trustees would like to know what it would cost, because this is what we want to know. We want to know what it would cost to install an elevator and stairs behind the library in the general outline of Van Voorhees plans provided.
it's Van Voorhees, not Voorhees.
I'm
That's
sorry.
Van Voorhees.
Yeah, it's all right.
And what did you say that again, Barbara?
Oh, no H.
Not an H, it's a V.
There's no H. It's Van.
Yes, there's an H.
VV.
Van Oris.
Van
No,
Voorhees.
I think there's an H. There's HOORHIS according
Yeah,
to
that's-
Justin. I know there's an H.
Yeah.
The name is right.
It's an H.
That's correct. That's
Van
correct. Let's move on.
Voorhees.
Here's the thing about Van Voorhees.
Oh, okay, I see, yeah, okay. Sorry.
I'm not excited about giving them a name because I think they will start looking at all the other things of his
Yeah.
plan.
Right.
On
Yeah,
the
that's
other
right.
hand, they liked Van Voorhees. They are the ones that made him go over Farley's plan and double the cost of it. So they have some confidence. Well, I think there's not that many that were there then, but Shirley will probably remember. They made Van Voorhees
course.
goes over Farley's plan and update the cost of it. So I'm not sure whether we should put the name or just give, just draw it on a napkin.
Yes,
Can
right.
you
Exactly.
say,
You don't have to use.
all right. What do you have here? Are you attaching? You're saying the outline of the Van Horace plans provided.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to give them plans if we're going to reference.
All right, so how
Adding
about if
whatever
you
modifications
just
necessary
say
for ADA
the
compliance
plans
as
provided?
economically.
Justin, you know, they're gonna know it's Van Horace anyhow, once they look at the
Not
plan.
if we also are providing them Farley's plans to look at a parking solution.
Right, exactly. So there's no sense in trying to hide it.
I think that's
Right.
I
fine.
can't see the
They like that plan,
Farley.
and a lot of work went into that plan.
Okay.
So if we can recoup any of that,
This would also like to know the cost of extending elevator access to the third floor. Use of and elevator access to the third floor and making it accessible as economically as possible.
Yep,
I
that's
don't,
good.
okay.
Finally, the trustees would also like to know what it would cost to square off the back of the design and extend the whole rear of the building.
good.
We also
Good.
need handicap bathroom in the
They
basement.
know that.
Well, he's putting that in, I hope.
ADA compliant restroom must be a consideration.
Must be a consideration in the basement.
Parking.
Well, I mean, I
Parking
want them
and-
to put it in the cheapest place they can find.
I just need to switch to mobile. I'm gonna come off for a
The
minute.
ADA compliant restroom must be consideration. ADA compliant restroom and parking
In parking.
Yes.
considerations. As ADA
Right.
compliance is the goal of this project.
And how about egress and ingress with the, for the, driveway?
Let's deal with that down the road.
An elevator.
It
stairs,
has to
and
be part of
entrance.
this whole thing. It's part of the need for making it accessible.
Right, but this is just to get an estimate for an estimate, so we have time to add details.
Okay.
So how does
I
this
think-
read? The trustees would like to know what it would cost to install an elevator, stairs, and entrance behind the library in the general outline of the Van Horace plans provided, adding whatever other modifications are necessary for ADA compliance as economically as possible. We good so far?
Yep,
The
Please
trustees-
change his name to be Voorhis. It's I just looked at the plan. It's Voorhis, not Horhis.
there's no HIS,
Oh.
it's,
It's V.
ORS. Okay.
That's all, somebody, it's VOORHIS. Change the initial cap H, right, that's it.
there you go.
Is it Van Forest?
Yes, and I just looked at the actual plan, so you could go look, instead of on the title, look at the actual detail.
Yep,
Okay.
you're right. It's right there in my email.
Okay,
Okay, we're good.
It is fixed.
thank you.
The trustees would also like to know the cost of extending elevator access to the third floor and making it accessible as economically as possible. Finally, the trustees would also like to know what, hold on, I need to Article ID.
You don't
What
have
it
to have
would
the
cost
also
to
in
square
there.
off the back of the design and extend the whole rear of the building.
Okay, it's just finally the trustees
Because-
would like to know, not also, because you have also in the previous.
Okay. Is this good?
But, and you had the parking lot in there and you're not talking
Oh.
about or we're doing the ingress and egress later.
Do we want to put in the parking lot design now and say we want to know? Because I mean, it's going to have to be integrated somehow or another.
Right, I would put it in now because that is the other component of meeting ADA requirements. So it should all be in one.
Solution
Package.
favors of parking is indicated by the attached.
So then we're
Farley
addressing,
design.
Farley
You know, if
plans.
you're going to give everybody a name, you don't have to have Van Voorhees' name there. Just say with the attached plans, you know, and then also Farley's, unless you're going to say it's Farley's plan.
you're gonna see it, they're going to see it, Ellie, when they open
I
it.
know, but you just gotta, why this big thing about naming Van Voorhees and then not naming Farley for parking? You know?
It is named.
We're gonna talk
It
about,
is named.
be consistent the way you.
It is consistent.
Farley
He's named
is
there.
named. Ellie,
Okay,
Farley is
I didn't see
named.
that. What, did you just type it in when I was talking?
I was still typing when you started talking.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
solution
right.
favors for parking is indicated by the attached Farley designs. Does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So is this statement put together represent what we want to fire? Is this the football we're ready to throw?
Yes,
So
Well,
this is
we
the
need to-
motion.
we need to, I will entertain a motion to accept the statement that Justin has written with attachments to be sent to Matt.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Discussion?
Elevator is spelled wrong.
Oh, oh no.
Hey, Kate.
I was trying to move fast and get out of here.
Fourth line down.
An
Yeah.
Evelator.
Evelator.
Listen, I'm not seeing the exact email there, but when the option he added at the end saying, and we'd also like to know the cost of making it go all the way across. Should we add to that sentence because we will be losing space?
Yes.
Because we will need more space
For the
to
stacks.
expand the stack area? Should we just add that sentence on there?
I think that's a good idea. I thought we
that is a
did,
good idea.
but
Yeah.
apparently we didn't.
How about the trustees would like to know what it would cost to square off the back of the design and extend the whole rear of the building to accommodate for the demands of ADA compliance.
To accommodate for the loss of stack space
Yeah.
in making
it's already
it handicap accessible.
Well, it's already lost. It's not lost. It's making it compliant with ADA for wheelchair accessibility or whatever.
Well, we'll lose stacks.
How
No, we
about
won't.
for
Oh,
the
well,
additional
we would
stacks?
not be compliant if we didn't do it.
That's why we need the space on the back, and I'm not sure they'll understand that I'm not sure they understand about the stacks.
How's this? The trustees would like to know what it would cost to square off the back of the design and extend the whole rear of the building to accommodate for the additional ADA compliant stacks necessary to maintain the size of our collections.
Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Do we need to vote again?
We haven't voted yet.
We
I don't
didn't
think
vote.
we voted.
Oh, we haven't finished. All right. Well, it's actually a motion on the floor.
Okay.
No.
And what was the motion? I should write it down.
Was to accept what Justin had written, and then Betty brought up that it
Oh.
should explain why we need the stack space.
I'm gonna go
So,
take a bathroom break while y'all vote.
Make sure it's handicapped accessible.
so we just need to
That's what-
do a,
Um,
we need to do a, we can vote on the amended. Can we don't need to make a motion again. We can vote on the amended
I
motion
think
that's
so,
on,
yeah.
yeah. Further discussion?
But
Oh,
he's putting in the extension all the way across the back as an additional wish and not the original wish. Is that correct?
It's one of the options.
well, it's as amended.
Finally, the trustees would like to know what it would cost to square off the back of the design and extend the whole building to accommodate
whole rear of the building.
for the additional ADA compliant stacks necessary to maintain the size of our collection.
I think that's fine.
I think it's good.
Are we good?
Okay, so it's a motion to accept what Snook wrote to, wrote for, Wojcik. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Except he's got to make a few edits there because see the blue spaces there? You've got a couple of redundancies and just fix it up a little.
Okay, the trustees would like to know what it would cost to install an elevator, stairs, and entrance behind the library, and the general outline of the Van Horst plans provided, adding whatever other modifications are necessary for ADA compliance as
Oh,
economically possible. The trustees would also like
Do know.
the spell check is working in my email window, but not in my
Yes.
Word window. Interesting.
Right.
Down here, you
Elevator.
got a couple.
The third floor, making it accessible as possible.
It would,
Right.
and
Okay.
then there's something in the last.
Yeah.
Do the. I think that's good.
Solution favored for parking is indicated by the attached colored signs. Okay, cool beans.
All right, shall we vote?
Yes.
Sorry, I was acting as chair. I'm sorry, Danielle.
That's okay, Kate.
I'm
Go
getting
ahead.
hungry.
Go ahead. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Unanimous. Perfect. So I don't have to show up next.
As soon as we are done. And I, add other stuff.
Awesome.
Not other important stuff, but like, my phone number and all that jazz in case he needs to reach me.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Good job, you guys.
Hunt.
All right. So I think we can we've talked about, we saw the front door. Nothing new to report on the basement.
But before we move on, it's just like, is everybody else as excited as I am? This is a
Yeah.
big step.
I was very encouraged with the BFCC meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Definitely the improved
Shall we,
financial state of the town.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this is an extremely big step. And I
Yeah.
think that looking back, this is going to be the moment when, a new project is born that's going to be finally seen past the finish line. So
Let's
I'm
do it.
excited. Anyway, moving on.
Someone's finally listening to us. I mean, seriously. I'm so happy.
All right, let's make it so.
It gets so
Number
All
one.
right. Are we all set?
all set.
All right. Moving on to anything. Front door, basement.
Front door is done, basement's still waiting. There is a big patch of brick spalling I found on the back of the building above the fire escape. I brought it to Adam's attention, and whenever Build Max comes to do the work in the basement in May, then we can have them look at it and evaluate what it'll take to fix.
Well, we're tearing it down that part anyway.
Or we're tearing down that part anyway. Grants, the capital campaign funds are 237. There's not a whole lot of movement right now because friends are not, the auction is not going, the book sale's not going, so there's not much change from last month.
I collected $50 in the donation jars.
Woo. Price Chopper and other grants is going to give us a $250 gift card to buy teas and snacks.
Sweet.
Nice.
For FY25 budget, we're on the Finance Committee's agenda for March 12th at 8 p.m. Other than that, it's still looking smooth sailing.
I don't see why there should be no discussion. All right.
Nothing to report in terms of new long-range report, which just brings us to the procedure manual.
Oh, how exciting.
It was actually the most funny procedure manual I've ever read, so.
That was the
job.
intent.
I actually read through the whole thing because it was interesting.
I like when it talks about something about drugs, just don't.
Without turning what?
Something about never, it was something about smoking or drugs, and you said just don't.
Oh, just don't. Smoking in the workplace, just don't.
So do we need to vote on this? Oh, sorry, Danielle.
I think we're fine. I don't
I
think we need to. Justin, we don't, do we have
Okay,
to?
right.
have
But we
to
do
read
need
the
to
whole
vote
thing?
to eliminate all of those policies and procedures.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Which are kind of hanging around like dinosaurs. And I think I explained all that via email. Does anyone have any questions or?
No. Nope.
That made sense.
So,
So we would need a motion to eliminate these policies that I've highlighted on the screen.
So, yeah, I can say so. So moved.
second. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Moving right along.
This page is going to get so much smaller.
So now we have friends. What's going on with the friends?
We've gotten a lot of membership so far, about just over 2,000. Last year we had total 4,000, so it's about, we're halfway there, which is good. And I was thinking I would ask Justin to also put in something or a reminder to in one of your newsletters, maybe each month, that don't forget you can become a friend, and we'd love it. So that's about it for friends.
When is the
Still
annual
with
meeting
us?
usually?
It has to be in April, and usually I make it the last Saturday in April.
Get that on my radar.
Right. Right. Anything else? Nothing? New business?
All I've got.
I think we did enough tonight.
Well, what
Yeah.
about Justin's
Oh, evaluation.
yeah.
Did you get the other three?
I'm about to find out.
I'm still in
Seven. So I'm just
Seven.
missing one. But I
You
mean,
know who
that's a
you
super
are.
majority.
I
So if
know
we
who
want
I
to
am.
close the books on this.
So hurry up.
Yes, yes.
Oh, baby.
It's shorter than in past years, so it'll be easy.
Oh,
All right, so can we adjourn? I want to adjourn so bad. I want to go eat supper.
No, I'm
Before
starving.
the
what
next
time is it?
meeting, let's meet and
I don't
sign
know.
the review if
6:41.
everybody's happy with it.
6:41? Okay. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I second that.
Mhm.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you can stay here and talk to yourself. Hey, good night, everybody.